the honorable ministers here present, the permanent secretaries, chief executives of parastatals, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by saying that the name of our ministry is not just Ministry of Special Duties, but Ministry of Special Duties and Inter-Governmental Affairs. Unlike the other ministries in respect of which presentations have been made by my friends and colleagues, ours is a relatively new ministry. The Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs was resuscitated in February this year by Mr. President. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will bear with us because we're a baby ministry. Now, being a baby ministry, we felt that the first thing we need to do so that we remain on course and work towards achieving the mandate that has been given to us by Mr. President, and to key in whatever we are going to do into the larger transformation agenda of Mr. President, is to first define our vision and our mission. Now, the vision of our ministry is to serve as a platform for the effective and efficient delivery of the gains of transformation agenda through the implementation of constituency projects, performance of special duties assigned by Mr. President, and conducting intergovernmental affairs. Our mission in this regard is to serve as strategic tool for grassroots development, effective implementation and monitoring of government policies and programs for national development. Now, this presentation, therefore, is aimed at showcasing the modest achievements that our ministry, even as a baby ministry, and other parastatals that are being supervised by us, have been able to achieve within this period under purview. Now, it is important to know, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that the special duties arm of the ministry until February 2013 was hosted by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and had carried out essential national assignments in line with its mandate. Now, similarly, the other major arm of the ministry, which is Intergovernmental Affairs, was hitherto also managed by the Department of State and Local Government, again in the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. So, the two arms of the ministry, both the special duties arm and the intergovernmental arms, were, as it were, pulled out from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and matched together to form the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs. Mandate. Our mandate is implementation, monitoring and evaluation of constituency projects, monitoring and evaluation of Federal Executive Council approved policies and projects by other MDAs and report back to the President in Council. Conducting, coordinating, promoting good and harmonious relationship among the three tiers and three arms of government and relevant international bodies. Providing leadership in the development of risk reduction measures and disaster management. Extending fire services facilities to the grassroots. Providing leadership for a safer, sustainable, and resilient society. Intervening in special areas as directed by Mr. President. Implementation of good governance policies on anti-corruption, handling all functions of ad hoc nature, and handling specialized requests for assistance, as for instance, where there are some natural disasters or calamities which we don't pay for, like flood or other things that fall under that. Now, it is important to state at this point also that being a new ministry and given the enormity of the responsibility that has been charged on this ministry, that we build capacity. And so the first thing we did as a ministry is to try to enhance capacity and build professionalism. What we did in this regard, therefore, was by liaising with Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation to deploy competent professional and technical staff to the ministry, who will now assist us in discharging and carrying out our existing mandate and any other assignment that Mr. President will direct us to do. Now, we have, since inception, been able to review Unified Scheme of Service for Local Government Employees. We are presently compiling or updating the list of constituency projects covering several sectors and also determining the status of the projects already executed. Now, our core mandate that has been given to us by Mr. President is to carry out the implementation of the constituency project as encapsulated in the 2013 Appropriation Act. Now, but beyond that, Mr. President also directed that since there are some seemingly abandoned constituency projects, arising from the fact that some of them, there have been change of priorities from the members who own these projects in the first place. And secondly, because some of them, even though ongoing, but our projects that no provision has been made in the 2013 Appropriation Act. Now, Mr. President said, because of his desire to ensure that no constituency project is abandoned, and because these constituency projects mostly, even though they are the projects of the National Assembly, are so dear to Mr. President and are so relevant to the transformation agenda, that our ministry must make sure that we take over the implementation of these, as it were, ongoing and abandoned constituency projects that provision has not been made. Now, at this point in time, we are liaising with all the MDAs. We've asked them to make return to us, and most of them are beginning to send returns to us regarding the number of these ongoing constituency projects that are domiciled in their agencies, the stage where these projects are, the level of funding that is required, including the constituency where they are situated, so that at the end of the day, we will now be able to go back to Mr. President and say we've carried out a census of all the outstanding constituency projects, and then this is the amount that will be needed for their completion. As part of our intergovernmental responsibilities, our ministry was able, within 2 months of its coming on board, to participate at the 7th Conference of the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, which was held at Uganda, and then we were able also to pay all our outstanding dues. Now, it has been a source of embarrassment for most of us when wherever these functions are being attended at the international forum, and then it's discovered that Nigeria has not been able to pay their dues. Now, there has been a lot of argument whether it is government that should do so, or Algon, who under normal circumstances are the affiliates to it. But coming on board, we've been able to go beyond that, and then we took up the responsibility to ensure that all the outstanding fees were paid in such a way and manner that not only do we now stand shoulder to shoulder with other members of this forum, but we've been able to be elected to become part of the governing board of the World Organization. The ministry is currently carrying out a review of the proposed 2013 Lottery Act. We've also been coordinating oversight of many parastatals. Now, like I've said in our mandate, we do not ordinarily initiate projects, but then we have the mandate to supervise every project that is being implemented by every MDA. In other words, therefore, every MDS project is our own business, it's our own project. And so sometimes we are referred to as a ministry without borders, because we can go and we can take on any project, look at it, ensure that it is well implemented, and not only well implemented, but also ensure that government is not being shortchanged. And so because of this, therefore, we take this a very important aspect of our assignment. And so we have been undertaken even before the resuscitation of this ministry as a full-fledged ministry, that the two departments that have now been pulled together into this ministry have also been embarking on this thing. And it is to enhance this performance that, like I said, we are able to liaise with the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation to now deploy additional competent professional and technical staff for us, which is ongoing. Now, agencies. There are currently 4 agencies under the purview of the ministry. These are Nigerian National Merit Award, National Commission for Refugees, National Lottery Regulatory Commission, and National Lottery Trust Fund. Now, I will go into the activities of these agencies one by one. And like I said, most of them were being supervised from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. But what we're trying to do now, having taken over, we're trying to widen the scope of what they are doing. We're trying to strengthen not only capacity, but to ensure that there's transparency in what they are doing. As I move in, people will appreciate what I meant by that. Now, Nigerian National Merit Award. The primary responsibility of this agency is to confer the Nigerian National Order of Merit on deserving Nigerians by Mr. President. What have been the achievements of this agency? 1, increment of the award price to 10 million naira in 2011 by Mr. President. 2, they conducted controversy-free selection of awardees of the Nigerian National Order of Merit, NNOM, and thus establish a global reputation for the award. Establish an electronic database, a virtual library, and a cyber cafe for public use, as well as an internet facility within the complex of the agency. The Nigerian National Merit Award, NNMA, successfully hosted the 5th Annual Forum of Laureates of National Order of Merit Award in Nigeria. Now, the agency successfully conducted 2 award winners lecture in Lagos and Abuja in 2012, and then carried out the conferment of the Nigerian National Order of Merit Award on 2012 recipients by Mr. President. National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons. This agency was established by Act number 52 of 1989 for safeguarding the interests and treatment of persons seeking to become refugees in Nigeria and persons seeking political asylum in Nigeria and other matters related thereto. The mandate of this agency is to bring operations closer to persons of concern. And the persons of concern here, the asylum seekers, the refugees, returnees, stateless persons, migrants, internally displaced persons, and persons in need. Achievements. The achievement of this agency have been, first, the facilitation for the establishment of 6 assisted voluntary return centers in this country. Now, the Commission also assisted victims of floods in Sokoto, KB, and Jigawa, including Oyo State, also with relief materials to cushion the effect of displacement, and also worked with states in the resettlement programs. Food and essential non-food items were also distributed in the affected areas, and camps hosting internally displaced persons were supported with mobile toilets, water treatment, chemicals, medical supplies, and other essential things of life. The commencement of the health insurance scheme for refugees in May 2012 and the enrollment of 561 persons in 2 batches, both in Lagos and Ijebu-Ode, has greatly enhanced the respect of this agency in the international community. Of the enrollees, 411 refugees were treated for various ailments from the beginning of the scheme till December 2012. Now, 5 out of the 9 bridges that linked Amana to Itwa were repaired in 2012 to ensure access to the refugees in these remote areas. Now, there are a lot of other achievements that has been recorded by this agency, which we now circulated in an addendum to our presentation. National Lottery Regulatory Commission. Now, this agency is responsible for regulating the operation and business of national and promotional lotteries in Nigeria, and then setting standards. This agency was established by the National Lottery Act of 2005. Compliance with the regulation regime was in the early days a very dodgy business for the agency. Many of the licensees had, in the absence of a strong regulatory authority, been used to playing according to their own terms. Now, government, through this exercise, has lost a lot of revenue, which under normal circumstances should not only have come to government and to be used for good causes, but even part of the gains that should have gone to players was also siphoned in unprofessional manner by the players in the industry. In the past, lottery was associated with crude gambling and the odiousness of the underworld. Now, it was seen or misunderstood as criminal and impure. Now, the greatest talent that this agency had, therefore, was to change this view and perception in the minds of Nigerians. Now, NLC has established lottery today as an honest endeavor, which in other claims have been deployed for good social causes. We've seen in places like China, where the Great Chinese Wall was built with stakes from lottery. The intervention, in response to the anxieties of northern states, an advocacy team visited various parts of the region and was able to reach a consensus with the ulama on the usefulness of the lottery. Now, all those prejudices has disappeared, and Nigerians are beginning to understand and appreciate that lottery is not gambling. Instead, lottery is an avenue for them to add quality to their lives and win stakes and then be able to use them to ameliorate their existing situations. Now, let me go to National Lottery Trust Fund. The National Lottery Trust Fund also was established in 2005, and by virtue of Section 40 of the Act, the agency promotes lottery funding projects that seek to bring support to Nigerians. Now, essentially, the work of the Lottery Trust Fund is to collect 20%. Now, where lottery or promotional lottery is organized, the law stipulates that 50% of the take should go back to the players as win money. Now, out of this remaining 50%, 30% will be held by the licensees and the promoters, while 20% is now supposed to be given to the National Lottery Trust Fund. Now, this 20% that goes to trust fund is supposed to be used for good causes, as Mr. President will direct. Now, our concern, like I've said, has been for lack of transparency in the way lottery is being played in this country. It becomes very difficult for the regulators and the regulatory authority to determine with certainty that is required how much is made from the promotional lottery or the lottery that is being played by these licensees. And because of this, therefore, you discover that the amount that is supposed to go to Nigerian who played as winning takes usually is being held by some of these licensees. Again, because of the absence of transparency, for us to determine how much really comes to these licensees, it also becomes very difficult for them to make full and proper remittance to the Lottery Trust Fund for the 20% that is supposed to come to government to be used for good causes. Now, what we are doing from our own perspective in the ministry is to install a platform. Now, once installed, this platform will now give us a purview of every aspect of lottery that is being played in Nigeria, so that the regulatory agency or the trust fund or even us as a ministry, we will sit down in the comfort of our office and look at the screen and then see what lottery aspects the promoters or the licensees are playing, how much is being played, and automatically, with the assistance of this platform, that the money will be broken down into how much is going to the players, how much is going to the promoters or the licensees, and how much is going to the Lottery Trust Fund to be used as good causes. And so once this is done, and so once this is successfully done, It will enable us to monitor closely what is happening in the lottery sector, and then we'll now be able to ensure that there's transparency. Now, in addition to this, zonal offices have been opened, and in the process, employment, servicing of the zonal offices that they've created have been able to employ more than 600 persons. The National Commission on Refugees has also been able to employ more than 1,700 Nigerians. The Lottery Regulatory Commission has also been able to employ more than 2,000 Nigerians. And let me say, all this employment, all these recruitments were done in line with the Federal Character Commission rules and regulations. In fact, they were involved in all these recruitments. Now, I have said in my opening remarks that Ministry of Special Duties, as well, is a ministry that is supposed to be at the beck and call of the President. In other words, we can be asked to carry out any assignment of specialized nature. Now, I will use this medium to speak on the activities of the Presidential Committee on Dialogue and Peaceful Resolution of Security Challenges in the North. Now, even though this committee is not situated in our ministry, but then we are driving the process of this committee. We are driving the process of this committee because I am the chairman of that committee. Now, it's important to say that through the activities of this committee, Mr. President has been able to restore confidence of Nigerian citizens, not only in the capacity of government to ensure that their lives and properties are protected, but even to give the citizens an opportunity for what one could say a reawakening as far as the issue of patriotism and nationalism is concerned. Now, right from the inception, this committee has been able to assist the peace process by advising government on certain steps that are needed to be taken, and which government also has accepted, and not only has accepted, but has started implementing. Part of this is the release of the vulnerable persons that were being held by security agencies in various detentions, prisons, and then police stations. Now, to assist the committee in carrying out this onerous assignment, Mr. President declared state of emergency in 3 states of Yobe, Borno, and Adamawa. Now, initially, Nigerians were thinking that the declaration of state of emergency in this state was going to scuttle what the committee was doing. To the contrary, however, the way and manner the declaration was made, within the purview of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, respecting as it is constituted authorities and the right for these authorities to continue to exist, and then talking also and ensuring that members of the armed forces continue to perform within the terms and rules of engagement, has been able to rekindle the spirit of these people staying in these areas. We now see a lot of cooperation between Nigerians and security agencies. We now see Nigerians, contrary to what has existed before the establishment of this committee, coming out to give sensitive, valuable information to security agencies to help the peace process.